Welcome to the Local Exchange Podcast, where Northwest Ohio comes to talk. Real people, real conversations, right here in our community. This episode is proudly brought to you by Caliber Custom Clothiers, defining style beyond ordinary. Tug Taviano, thanks for stopping onto the Local Exchange.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for starting it.
Absolutely. Now, Tug, I was trying to think back and figure out when was the first time that I met you.
T-ball, baby.
It was T-ball?
It had to be T-ball.
I was thinking it was like Shawnee, Seminoles, midget football.
It may have been. I don't know, but it's been a while.
It was something like that, but I just feel like you just stick around, and I just run into you a little bit everywhere. You're kind of involved in everything.
I guess. I try and busy my time as much as I can because my kids are, 19 and above, and I have a lot of time.
Yeah, well, and you certainly find different ways to use it. Yeah. Now, you are the first person to be on this podcast that doesn't have any affiliation to, you're not running for anything, correct?
I did back in the day, by the way.
Oh, well, what did you run for?
I ran for trustee in Shawnee Township.
Oh, no, you ran for trustee.
I did.
All right, well,
Guess
now
what my sign said? Pull for Tug.
Pull for Tug. Oh,
yeah, that's
my gosh.
stupid, ain't it? I'm glad I didn't.
Shocking you didn't win.
I got enough votes to keep the person out of the office that I...
When would this have been, roughly?
Probably around 2004-ish, something like that. Yeah, it was a dumb decision. I'm glad I did not get elected, so thank you, community.
People are spending a lot of money to get elected now.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of money, and I think that is where I say presence means more than signs. And I'm not being ridiculous or rude when I say that, and I don't have anything, no bad blood with anybody that's running. But I think presence answers a lot of questions without having to answer the questions. So that's where, I love Clark and I've met Ted a few times, have no issues there with them as far as personal goes. But I love how many of the new people are stepping into the game and answering questions because you have to at that point. And sometimes with the way the public portrays everything in the local community, if you don't go, it automatically makes you look like you're not caring. Right. And so that's my in on that, I guess. You
can at least understand why someone would have that impression.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, 100%. And, I was laughing. I go down here, and it's kind of like sign wars, on the back of one sign's Paul Neff, and on the other side of the billboard's 10 Seminoles. I was like, okay, that's like sounds like real estate.
Well, and thankfully, sign wars will be over in about 72 hours from now. They'll have to have them all pulled down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be nice to be through and past that. But so, I mean, you were on the trail, you were knocking on doors. I mean, what were some things you learned throughout that process?
I am a complete extrovert, and so knocking on doors is no problem. Meeting with people is no problem. Being as transparent is, I would rather everybody know my fallacies and my successes, and then they can figure it out from there. That's the way in relationships it works. With my wife, she knows every ounce of everything I do, bad or good, and she still loves me. And if you keep that from people, it tends to allow them to question the relationship, and I would rather, not be questioned.
Okay. I think everyone would rather not be questioned, but
I don't know.
They'll still be questioned. I'd rather answer them,
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the thing I kind of laugh about is, I mean, while this is a position that we need to have the right people in, it doesn't feel like it's a lot of power. Like, I don't understand why people would have bad intentions with holding on to the power. So I give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's like when you see some of the games that seem to be played, it's like, what is this all over?
Yeah, it's all game. I mean, I'm being as respectfully honest as I can. It's a lot of games, and you want people to continually think good about you. And then the other issue I have too in an election process is we have so many people running for so many few positions, and those votes that some of them are getting could be more powerful if there wasn't so many people running. And so I tend to not throw a lot of weight. I am supporting Kenny Gross for trustee. I've known Kenny for a long time, and I have a really strong relationship. And every time that I've talked with him, it's been nothing but good things. When he was on the school board, when he did this, when he's just a friend, he's always there. And you can we're not super close, but he's consistent. And then you have a lot of people. I know Chad, and I don't know Mulaski really well at all. I haven't heard anything bad, at all.
Nope.
But with the positions that we have, I think the weight is better if there would be, 2 or so running instead of 3, and where do those votes go and so on. But here we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough to look at one of the 4 and say, hey, it'd be a good idea if you dropped out. You probably don't have a good chance.
Right.
It's when they all are there, and like you said, it's just great to see that people are running and wanting to make a difference.
Yep.
So that's
awesome.
the positive thing to take away from it. Now, Tug, one thing that I know we're definitely going to talk about, but I want to get to it from the start. You are behind. What is your involvement with the Rhett Walker family Christmas event going on here?
A lot.
Okay.
Man. Rhett and I are really good friends.
Okay.
For one, we when I toured with when I was a national concert promoter, Rhett was one of the openers for one of the main tours we ran, and him and I became really close, and brought him to Lima years ago with John Godwin from Duck Commander. And we've just always talked. And when I got an email from his agent asking for fill dates, I mean, I have never taken a personal risk on a show.
Okay.
In 200 concerts, I've never taken a personal risk. And when
a financial risk? Is that what you're saying?
In a way. I mean, Frank and I with Unicent Marketing, we're starting to do more things in the community and things, and we want to kind of show this area how to produce a professional show. There's a lot of good things that come here. There's not a lot of great things, and I want to bring great things to the area. And when I got this email, I sent the agent an email back. It's like, how much is this going to cost? And she responded with, well, his spring tour is costing this. And that was code for, I don't want to uncover what I really want you to pay. And so I just shot Rhett a text and said, hey, call me. And he FaceTimes me. I'm holding my little grandson, the little legend, and he got to meet Beckett, and we talked, and it was weird, and I talk about God things a lot, and I know we're going to talk about faith and purpose and stuff like that later on, but when Rhett, I said, don't tell me what you want, tell me what you need. I don't want to be cheap. I want to be fair. I want to be right, but I want to bring you to town, meet the fam, and so on. And with us going to Cable Road Alliance Church, I'm like, we got a perfect venue for it. And he responded, I didn't give him what I wanted to offer. He gave me the exact price that I was going to offer. So I'm like, okay, this works, and immediately, Rudolph Foods, sponsors that I used to work with when I had the nonprofit, Rock for Food, they already jumped on board, and, the concert is really already paid for. I mean, Rhett's Grammy nominated, Dove Award nominated, it's been in NBA arenas, yada, yada, yada. He's a great guy, but he's high quality music. And honestly, I mean, if you listen to Christian radio, he's got some really good hits, so to say. So it's awesome. I mean, it's 380 people. We're already like 140 people deep in 3 days, and it'll sell out probably in a week and a half. But it's more about bringing high quality entertainment to the area and seeing what happens from there. But it allows us to profit from it. Allows Rhett to profit from us. Us to give back to the church and help them to grow, their event side and also kind of market them in a way. This is a creative way of getting people into the church and seeing what they have to offer, but, walking out of there and like, oh, wow, that was in that facility, So
yeah.
It's kind of fun, not having it at a place like the Civic Center, which is great, and not having it at the field house where we used to host, but, having a built-in sound system, and it's an easy show to do. It's already profitable, but more than the financial side of it is the impact that's going to make on that intimate feeling of being in the room with somebody that's performed in NBA arenas. So
now I looked up tickets before because my wife heard about this, and I think all 4 of us are going to be going. So
yeah, they're expensive, aren't they?
I mean, $10.
Yeah, right.
And the cool thing there, it looked like. Are some of these local sponsors kind of helping take care of that cost? It sounds
yeah, that's
like
what I've always done. Lima is not Columbus. It's not Cleveland. It's not Cincinnati. It's, in a way, ticket prices for any concert is outrageous now. And so in the creative mind of marketing, there's publicity involved with getting behind these things. So we limit the amount of sponsors that we can get. but we give back a certain percentage to them, whether it be tickets, that they can give out to the community or whatever they want to do. Make sure we promote them as much as we promote the artist, and then put the savings onto the consumer. Because if somebody is going to go to a show and they're like, oh, it's $10, like it seems like this is too cheap to be real. But
what am I walking into, a puppet show or something?
But it's the way with golf outings, everything. I mean, the big money golf we do, we our cost for the team is $400 for a team, which you would pay for to go play in a charity outing.
Mm-hmm.
But at our outing, you win $5,000. Like it just makes sense. We're more about.
Well, I don't win $5,000.
No,
I do not win any money at a golf outing.
Triple bogeys all day.
Donates $100 and stumbling by the time he gets off 18.
See, why we started is we used to win these outings, and you'd get a gift card to the course you're a member at. And you're like, I don't need that, or that's great for hot dogs and stuff. Or you'd win a long drive comp and you'd get a driver. Like, no,
I'm going to keep using the
I'll
same
keep
driver.
Using the one I just won the long drive with. It makes no dang sense.
So, what can families expect this event to be like? The Rhett
it'll
Family
be cool. I think the first, if I'm just guessing, we did just add a local opener too. His name's Phil Klum. He has a song that's just getting on a little bit of radio down south. But we're gonna have Phil Klum and his band open up for 15 to 20 minutes, and then Rhett and his whole family is coming up from Georgia. And probably the first half of the show will be his songs, the normal Rhett Walker songs, and then the last half will probably be like in a way, a Christmas sing-along with Rhett Walker. We did it on a Wednesday night. We kind of offered originally on a Friday night, and they came back and asked if we do Wednesday, and I'm like, it's basketball season? Heck yeah. Let's stay away from that. And I text our pastor. I'm like, hey, get a night off of church. I know you guys have Wednesday service, but how about we give you a night off and let you enjoy it?
Sure, they didn't mind that.
No, he had to clear it, but whatever, Eric.
I'm sure they're going to have plenty of volunteers that have to step up and help with parking and everything else going on with that event. So it's not really a night off, I'm sure.
No,
I'm not familiar with where is this church at?
So it's the church. I will say it's a church that looks like Noah's Ark beside Lima Auto Mall.
Okay, so way on the north side.
North side,
okay.
Right across kind of from our dilapidated mall that's building a Target,
we're coming back, baby.
Yeah,
Now that Target's right. I
got
thought
a
that Target was
now.
going to be separate, but that's built,
That's
getting
like
built right up on it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to
It's
have an
hard to
entrance.
knock the other stuff down, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Well, I mean, that I assumed that was going to happen at some point. But yeah, I was caught off guard by where that
They
was
just
at.
did it in Finley. I was in Finley the other day. No mall in Finley.
Wow. No carpeted mall. Awesome.
No mall.
Now, do you think that there's a growing hunger in this area for faith-based music? I mean, at the fair, we just had Lauren Dangle. Am I saying her name right?
Daigle.
Thank you.
Dangle is kind of laying low.
Well, see, I
Lauren Daigle is
did not
actually her
attend
name.
that show, but it seemed like there was a lot of people that went to that.
Yeah, I think people are looking for purpose more than entertainment. And, with me, I'm a complete unfiltered Christian, meaning, I may be somewhere and I am who you get, what you see is what you get. But in the grand scheme of things, I think people are looking for quality entertainment that's not every other word is, something that you don't want to say, or, even I think that's why country music has taken off like crazy, is because of what can I take my kids to that doesn't cause not damage or whatever, but I mean, I listen to hip hop too and whatever.
Sure.
We have a tough time. My wife and I have been going to a lot more concerts recently, and we have a tough time because my kids love music, like all people like.
Who do they like?
So we went to probably the best concert that we took our kids to was AJR. Not a lot of.
Who's it? I'm sorry.
They're a pop. Yeah,
That
the
one?
Bang
Ooh.
song.
Keep going.
It's probably not the
I love
place
this.
for us to keep
This
singing.
is pretty
right?
good,
I
right?
love it.
Yeah,
This is going to be the clip that gets cut.
Yeah.
You're still not
but
there. I can't believe it.
fantastic show and really family friendly, considering they're a top pop band. Fantastic show. So shout out to AJR if they're listening.
I went to the Big House for the first time for the Zach Bryan show. That was fun.
How was that?
It was insane. I was really mad afterwards because my dude posted on Instagram like some behind the scenes production stuff, and it was literally my buddy that I did about 100 shows with is like Zach Bryan's production guy now, and I'm like, oh, that would have been nice to know an hour and a half ago, but it was literally insane. And I know there's a lot of stuff out there about Zach now with all the things, and he's like, listen to the whole song, you'll understand it. But I've been to I think 3 of his shows now, and there's no better. I mean, he had John Mayer open up for him. That's some street cred.
Yeah. Well, people who I know and respect as far as their music taste say that John Mayer's one of the best guitarists alive right now.
Yeah, he was amazing.
So and didn't that set a record for number of people?
Yeah, it was the largest ticketed concert in American history. It was pretty sweet to be there and see that. It'll be broken next year by Morgan Wallen for sure.
Where's he going at?
Same place.
Okay.
But he's doing like 2 nights there in a row, and it's amazing to be a part. And what was crazy is the seamlessness. Like you guys were sitting here in your custom caliber clothing thing, and like you guys probably pick apart dress and stuff when you go to places. Like I pick apart shows, and I bought merch, and literally walked out. I set my clothes in a box, and AI knew exactly what I bought without even having a checkout, and it was all paid by Apple Pay. It was insane the amount of tech that's going involved.
That's a huge problem usually at concerts. You miss the concert because you're in line to get a T-shirt.
Yeah, and he made I don't know how many millions in merch that he sold that night, but it was insane. The production quality was good, and sitting there with my daughter was fun too.
Now, it's got to kill you a little bit to have that at the big house. I mean, you're a big Buckeye fan.
I was actually so happy because I was watching the Buckeyes win while I was in the big house on my phone while I was watching the opener. So I was happy watching the Buckeyes get a win in the big house like I'm going to next month.
Unfortunately, it's been a couple of years since we've watched the Buckeyes get a win in the big house.
Yeah, but we won the net. It'll be all right.
And things will be all right. It's in the world of college football right now. It is not bad to be Ohio State.
Right.
Hasn't been bad for past 25 years.
No.
So in your bio, you got a whole bunch of different things that you say, but the main things that you mentioned is that you're a husband, a dad, a bonus dad, and a realtor. Yeah. But how do you define Tug Taviano? There's so many different things you're involved in.
That's how I define me.
Okay.
What is bonus dad?
Bonus dad means I'm not a stepdad, bro. Like there's so many things like go into life when, for one, I hate that word, step. Like what does that mean? No, this is a choice that you get to walk into with somebody, and you desire to love their kids, which are yours now, and it's an opportunity to give them the home that they always desired, the support that they always desired. I have a little grandbaby now from Cora. I call him Little Legend. He's a stud. But I never want anybody that I signed up to do life with to feel like they're not as important as, biologicals or what have you. So they're like, wow, this is a bonus. It's not a problem. It's a bonus. And they start to look at you as dad and so on. And you never want to take, one thing I'm very careful with in that too is I never want to take the place of who is their dad, right? However, I want to support them like I am their dad, and that's a bonus opportunity for me to step into. And life's been crazy, we're going on. We got married in 2019, May 5th actually, and life's so honestly impressive when you have somebody in your corner that supports you for who you are and allows you. I just posted my 111th golf round of the year. And
of the year?
Of the year, since April. And I always tell her, like, don't tell me if you don't want me to. But because of her desiring me to be me, it allows me to be a better person at home. So it's an amazing opportunity, and people don't take it serious. That's what really drives me crazy is, like, why don't you look at, if anybody's been divorced and remarried and they look at that kid like a step kid, to me, it's bullcrap, It's really not.
Did you intentionally choose Cinco de Mayo to get married? Because I also was married on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, how'd it go?
I don't forget it ever.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my anniversary.
I think we had a taco bar too.
We did not.
forget.
We definitely did not have a taco bar.
You didn't have a taco bar
But
in your
we
Cinco de
definitely
Mayo
got
wedding?
married on Cinco de Mayo.
Did you have some good margaritas at least?
Nope.
Yeah, we didn't have margaritas. We had a cash bar. 'Cause I'm like not paying for my dudes. You know, they could have. We had a cigar bar. That was sweet. But yeah, it's amazing.
Now, is your son was a pretty good scooter? What do you call an athlete who rides a scooter?
A scooterer.
A scooterer?
I think.
Okay, so a very passionate scooterer,
Are we talking about like a
razor
like
scooter.
a razor scooter?
Yeah, he does backflips and all that stuff. It's crazy. Lives in Dallas on his own now and
You
loves life. And
Cool little park down there.
yeah, he's got like 70 of them, and he's always calling me from different ones. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. And you know, going back to when you played t-ball and the sports that you were involved with, like Tanner was a stud at soccer, at basketball, at golf. Got a hole-in-one when he was 6, right beside Bubba Watson when we were playing. Like, there's insane things that he could do. So the hard time that I had was allowing him to shift in a different direction than what I thought he was good at.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got like, I don't know how many decks and wheels and stuff that I have in my attic that he won't throw away. But I'm so proud of the man that he's become by allowing him to venture out on his own. I mean, the kid won I think he won the pass, shoot, and dribble in Lima and like a Chinese version of a Messi jersey with kids that were all AAU players. And I'm like, yeah, you're a stud.
Okay.
And then in the middle of being a single dad, I didn't know about the tryouts for Shawnee soccer. I think it was U12, maybe. And I actually called the guy who was running the tryouts. I'm like, hey, I had no idea that these tryouts were going. He's on the B team. He is not a B team player. And I said, I promise I'm not being that dad. Like, can I get a non-biased tryout where I just drop him off? You see if you want to put him on the A team. And he said it was too late. And I said, it's on now, to myself. And he played. It was the team that won state, actually. Like, that's the age he was. And that year, Tanner got put on the B team, and I'll never forget, he had a hat trick against the A team and won the game. And I walked away so proud, but then he didn't play soccer again after that year.
Wow.
And that's all about, you know, coaching. That's all about team. That's all about who are you around. And now I look back and I'm like, man, I'm so thankful he didn't. Not that there's not a lot of good kids that came from that team, but he wouldn't be the man he is today if he stayed playing soccer. You know, he's friends with Cody Flom, who's like the top 5 scooter riders in the year. Cody flew to Lima to hang with Tanner for a weekend.
I was going to ask you about that. How did that happen?
Dad being dad.
Okay.
Dad, when Dad had his podcast, when COVID hit, right?
You were the first Lima podcast.
I don't think so. I was just
There's
the
a few
first
others
idiot
out
that was
there.
always going live on Facebook and thought, you know, I'm going to start something that people like and started asking people to come on live with me and we record it and put it out there. And I privately messaged Cody Flom, not thinking I'd get a response. And he goes, yeah, I'll jump on it. As I always interviewed people that were influential to me. And this night I asked my son to be on because he's honestly one of the most influential men in my life to this day. And he came to the table, my kitchen table in Cridersville that I had, and he had his scooter helmet on while we were on Facebook Live. I mean, he looked like a kid that was going to fall everywhere or something. You know, it was kind of awesome. And in the middle of Tanner talking, up popped Cody Flom on the screen, and Tanner just starts crying. And I knew that moment was impactful for him, but it was more for me. And then like 3 months later, I think Cody called and said, hey, I really feel led to come to Lima, and I want to stay at your house and hang out with Tanner. And they went and kicked the ball at Shawnee and ended up on the news and stuff. But now, you know, as a dad, my job is to pour into my kids and my wife as much as I can. And whatever happened there kind of jump-started Tanner into doing the camp at West Virginia for a couple years and led him to finding the upper rim in Dallas. And now he's, you know, living down there, and Dad misses the heck out of him, but proud of him.
Well, you can visit them. Go visit them every once in a while when the Buckeyes are playing at Jerry World down there.
That's right.
So one thing I wanted to, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was you do a very good job at promoting and building up events, and I'm sure you kind of are always thinking of ways of solving issues. And we've talked about youth sports a little bit. And Matt, you started the Wombats, or did you start it?
Yeah, I was a founding member.
Okay, founding member sounds much more mysterious. This is like National Treasure, Nicolas Cage stuff. So we'll figure that out later.
Invite only.
But I remember as a kid, you talk about playing t-ball, and I remember that baseball league was very well established, and there was a lot of teams in there, and it seemed like there was a lot of coaches. And now you hear that these youth sports leagues are kind of losing momentum. So from someone who is passionate about baseball, if you wanted to try to turn the momentum of something like this around and get something built back into a positive thing, what would be your approach to even going about that?
Well, it's too far gone now, but I'd get rid of all AAU. I'd get rid of all travel. I mean, I know this sounds ridiculous now.
You know how much money that stuff makes?
That's why it's
not
there.
going anywhere.
No, that's why it's there. But like, you decrease the amount of intentionality in high school sports when there's so much travel ball. And I graduated from Temple, where you played with the same team from first grade to 12th grade, and you didn't go anywhere. But you played religiously, and by the time we got to senior year, I think we were 7th in the state in basketball and baseball and soccer, like together, and we had a class of 30. You know where Chad's going to be. Logan Maxwell's dad. You know where Chad's going to be when you need to throw the ball, kind of thing. But it creates a family atmosphere, and even though I love how kids are getting found and social media and stuff like that, I'd probably put a strong emphasis on the locality of sports. A lot of athletes have put Lima on the map, but they've put Lima on the map by going different places too.
Right.
And so I think a strong thing is creating a team atmosphere where the parents buy in instead of the parents just getting out their wallet. I know, John, when you played, it was everybody got to know, the parents all hung out. I remember your dad sitting there, and because of that sport, I followed your dad in his umpiring things, and then I think I sold your grandma's house or something, and then I called your sister popcorn since she was little, and that became family.
Yeah.
And I think that's missing. It's like how can my kid be seen, and how can I get credit for it instead of the family atmosphere?
So I've got a few kids that play travel and select baseball, soccer, and I have very mixed emotions because when I see a youth sport, like let's take baseball, because I love baseball more than anything. Here comes another baseball analogy for our listeners.
Great World Series.
Excellent game last night. Unfortunately, the wrong team won.
Dang, by a championship. Sorry.
Much like travel ball, it's
Right.
amazing when you can just buy the best players.
Right.
It's super helpful. So I am in my soul against travel sports. However, if you watch most youth sports now, like baseball, if you are playing in a rec baseball league, certainly locally in this area, it is a joke of a league.
Yeah.
It just is. The competitiveness is not there. And so if you want to see real baseball, you're not going to see it on a rec league. Like I can remember John and I have been on many teams since T-ball.
Right.
I was on a team in the 3rd and 4th grade that threw a perfect game. We threw strikes. We got outs. Like we fielded the ball.
Yep.
There is none of that happening in rec league. The disparity between kids that are good and kids that are not so good is such a huge gap. If you want to play in a competitive league, you almost have to go to one of these
I think that happened when we
organizations.
started giving kids trophies for the same things. I'm being dead on it. Like I will kick my son's butt at FIFA,
Yeah.
or try.
Right.
And Dad, why are you getting so mad?
Right, no freebies.
Like no, I think that's even in real estate, like whatever that is. It's like when you said competitiveness, I'm like, oh, that's it. Like you want your kid to be good, you got to put him against high pressure situations that are going to cause them to grow to greatness. And that's why I quit church league softball, like, and started golfing, is because it's the competition that drives the success. And around here we've gotten so good at, Jimmy's good at this. No, he's really not, or the people that put their kids on American Idol and can't sing. Like, you got to stop supporting your kids with lies, and some of that happens by putting them, I kind of want to pull back my thing on the AAU stuff and say, if I wanted Tanner to be great at something, I got to put him against other kids and other families that demand that same greatness. And around here, it's like, okay, he's playing softball. I got to go to the game and sit. Well, then you better be in the backyard throwing ball to him.
Right. That's such a huge thing. Parental involvement is one of the reasons why, like I said, I'll speak intimately on baseball, but that's such a huge reason that you don't get good at hitting a baseball unless somebody throws you a baseball.
Right. Or throws at you.
You don't get good catching a baseball unless somebody throws it to you. That's just it. And if there is not somebody at home to throw that ball with you or to throw the ball at you, then you're so far behind so quickly.
Yeah, I grew up with my dad working second shift at Honda, but there wasn't a Sunday that went by the halftime of the Browns game we were out playing. I mean, we didn't have football at Temple. We were out throwing the football, playing basketball hard against each other. And there was that constant competition that Dad and his brothers and cousin and all this stuff gave me. That's what you hang on to.
Right. And I think there's a lot of kids that love they'd rather be the best on a bad team than the worst on a great team.
Right.
And like I think it was Cooper Flagg's mom, future NBA superstar Cooper Flagg, who said, if you're the best kid in the gym, time to find a better gym.
Yeah. Yep. I say that even, not change the subject or whatever, is like, I try and be the best realtor I can for my clients, but there is somebody better in my office, numbers wise. Mm-hmm. And I check numbers consistently. It's not about being number one. It's about competing with your team in an effective way. And then also while you're competing, it's like, how can I cheer them on to be even better? Right. Don Imes kicks my butt all the time, number wise, and I'm fine with that as long as I'm giving her and my team or my clients the best effort that I can every day. Right. And you got to be okay with losing. I think, I'm not happy with it.
Right.
But if I gave every ounce of every effort that I have, just like my kids, when they step on that field and they do their best and they lose, like, hey, you killed it today. Now, if you won 6-0 and you played like trash, I'm probably going to get on you harder.
Right.
Well, and you talk about your time as a realtor, and you happen to help sell my my last house and get us into the new one. And I just speaking to the effort that you put, it's a question of how do you define success? Because you were in there very first day that my wife, she knows about houses before anybody else does. We're in there day one. And then throughout the process, we were on vacation in Florida, and I had an inspection that happened at my house while we were on vacation, and we needed like a pipe or something that added to just clear that.
And your dog got let out.
And you stopped into my house during that time to get that taken care of. And yeah, while my house was being shown, you'd let my dog out.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you probably could have been going and doing something else during that time and working on the next thing, but you knew getting that done for me while we're down there in Florida just trying to relax, and that's a stressful time. That meant a lot to me as a home buyer, knowing that you're going to go those next extra steps to make sure I'm taken care of.
Yeah, I will say it's people before property. It's also the property is very important as well, but for the right people. And you do things, people ask me, why don't you have an assistant? Because I can't. I can't allow people to do, I could, but I don't want to, I should say. I want to have my hand in everything so that when you are at the closing table, whether, I'm teaching a class at UNOH now, and I've missed a couple closing, and it drives me nuts that I'm not there, even though they're signing papers, but I want that process to feel so personal, because it is honestly one of the most stressful things that people go through. But it's so easy for me. your wife sends me the house that she wants to see. I have to show up and unlock the door. And if you like it, you buy it. Now I got to see it at the closing table. It's a lot easier than selling a concert ticket to a show that nobody knows about, and so that the customer experience that they have during that 30 to 60 days window becomes more properties, but more people intentionally. And so the best marketing that I can do as an individual is handle all of my clients as if they were family. My favorite thing is walking, I mean, even with your little daughter, is like walking through a house and I'm babysitting. Like, I mean, for one, people look at me a little weird, but like, I'm like, I want those parents to be able to relax and go see that property while their kid is, pointing at this picture or this light or so on, and then tell me which bedroom's theirs, and the parents are getting ready to inspect that house if it's right for them.
Yep. Well, and it meant a lot, you helping us out with that whole process, and we couldn't be happier with the house we're in. So
yeah, I wish I would have bought it.
And you're right across the street from us. So
we walk over there sometimes. My golf cart, or the golf cart I have in my garage, goes fast, I guess.
Now you're talking about, that's true, it does go fast. You talk about your golf game. You went out and you golfed. First off, pretty good golfer.
Yeah, I don't know if
What's you got a handicap?
it was a 5. I think I'm like a 7. My lowest was a 5.2, which made me a 4 at Shawnee.
They do decimals with the handicap
Yeah,
system?
and I try and stay at the 0.8 because it keeps me that stroke.
Is that
but
like a half birthday kind of thing? Like, you're keeping track of every bit you can?
yeah, it sucks.
Okay.
And when you get down to that level,
If you're, I think to answer his question for him, if you're keeping track to the decimal of what your handicap is,
It's a pretty good golfer.
you're probably a pretty decent golfer.
I'm a lot better than I used to be, but I am learning that the more you do something, the better you get. And
Weird.
so like, if I'm not out there 3 to 4 times a week, which I'm blessed to be able to do that in the middle of the day, because it doesn't interrupt closings, it doesn't interrupt showings. It's me and God, and like there's a lot of moments at the golf course that I spend. In fact, when Heather and I were looking to purchase our house together, and some things were going on, like I'm talking to God on hole 3, bro, and I'm like, hey man, I haven't seen these turkeys in like a year. I'm serious. This is stupid, but it was such
There's golf course turkeys out there?
Yeah, there is at Shawnee. There was like these turkeys, but I haven't seen them, and I think it was like 90 degrees that day, and that's a day you don't see turkeys. I'm like, hey God, if you want me to buy this house, show me them turkeys. Don't show me a squirrel or a deer tripod that
Did
was
they
out
just
there.
drop out of the sky right onto the
get
course?
my ball. I'm playing by myself. No lie. I get my ball out of the hole on hole 3. Hole 4, between 4 and 5. And by the time I get to the 5's tee box, I look down and there's 7 turkeys, like legit 7 turkeys. And I'm like, okay, I get you, God. But like a lot of my, with having my hands in a lot, in a way, you need that outlet to keep yourself sane. Mm-hmm. And golf does that for me. It's weird, but it really does, and allows me to have that if I'm by myself, I can get around 2 hours. I can still answer my phone. I can still check emails. I get yelled at all the time for being on my phone if I'm playing a game, but that's, how I am able to golf.
Sure.
And, but it's became this place where it's the most frustrating way to relax. But it's the way my competitive mind still stays.
Sure. Well, and credit to Heather, 111 rounds in a year, and you just said 2 hours. I mean, we're at least 250, 300 hours on the course.
Yeah.
I always say when I'm going out of the house to do something fun, my wife is taking over the responsibilities for the kids. So.
But if the number, and I jokingly say this, I don't, but I've played 111 rounds this year, and my numbers in real estate have increased, and our marketing company's starting strong. And everybody says if you play more golf, your numbers will go down. And I would say the opposite. If you allow yourself to have an outlet that's purposeful, then your intentions while you're doing your work will be better.
Yeah. Well, you're proving that to be true.
Maybe.
So how long have you been a realtor for?
Since 2018, I stepped in. I started out in youth ministry, switched over to concert promoting, sold Wi-Fi to hotels, resorts, and casinos. Went into full-time concert promoting. Probably hit every NBA arena and most college venues. And then I stepped into real estate, and it was a huge blessing for me to be a full-time dad with having my own work schedule. And in that, everybody's like, I stepped into the game in, I think, 2018, and within the first 6 months, I I humbly say this. I don't ever want anything of my success to come across as arrogant, because it's more because of my clients and everything like that. But in the first year, I think I was in the top 10 out of 400 agents. And everybody asked me, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I'm an overnight success 20 years in the making. Like, I've been in Lima. I've been in the people business. And I hope in front of God that because of my attitude of direction on that people matter before anything else, on this world, is I finally found my fit after trying to find it for 20 years. And so real estate's never going anywhere for me. It's so fun. But the intentions, no matter what I do, are what matter. And so I consistently want to stay in that top 15, top 10, just for competitive reasons and for, bills. But outside of that, it's like whatever God requires of me, I want to push my tail off for.
John's gonna hate me because so John does a lot of work to put together, like, this is what I want to go over, this is what I want to talk
you're
about.
fine.
This is
Let's
great.
bring it up.
Forget John.
And then I look at none of it.
Yep.
Because I don't want to know.
Right.
I just show up.
Yep.
And we should have a segment called "What Does Matt Want to Know?" So today, what I want to know from a realtor.
This segment is brought to you by CCR Realtors.
Yes, the best.
What I want to know from a realtor is, in roughly 7 or 8 years since I moved into my house, my property value has, it's not double, but it's gone up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Humble brag.
If I were, as I assume
Sell
has
it.
yours, is there a point where, like, if I had to rebuy my house today, I don't know that I could. Is there a point in which property values go too high?
I don't see them going too high. I think they're pretty elevated now, but also they're coming back down smallly. But what's crazy is they're not coming back down like completely drastically. So it's sellers, buyers market right now completely. If you have the right house and you price it completely right, it's gone day one. And then what happens sometimes in that is the sellers, and they hate when I say this, is like, your house isn't really worth that right now. It was 2.5 years ago. So if you want high traction, I want to bring it down to here. Now, my job is also you. So now if you want me to try this for a couple months, I will, but we'll probably be at the number that I talked about before, not arrogantly again. But we bought in Cridersville for I think it was 140, sold for 250, and it enabled us to go to where we're at now. But I don't see them coming back down at all. Potentially see the interest rates coming a little bit down, but not to where they were at like 3.2 or 3 or.
See, and that's super great for you as the guy selling the house.
Right.
The property value being high. Is it an issue with people being unable to afford? Like I said, like if we had to buy a house today, we're probably having to downgrade what our house is.
Yeah, I'd have to buy. I mean, I'm not being ridiculous when I say this. I'd have to buy. Me and my wife have this conversation all the time because we want to be out in the country. We want a pole barn. I want a golf simulator, by the way, but we want a barn dominium and things like that. And like, I would have to buy to have the same payment that I do now. My house would have to be $100,000 cheaper.
Right. Is that as from your perspective as an expert in the field? Is that a good place to be or a bad place to be?
Yes. It is. I jokingly say that it's good to be in that place with the mindset that I have with my clients on helping them see that reality, because it's not 4 years ago, it's not 3 years ago.
Right. But like if I was going to buy a house, my wife would say it's not a good thing because she'd say, great, our house is worth $100,000 more than it was when we bought it 8 years ago. But now we have to spend $100,000 more, which means we're going to have a higher mortgage payment, and the house that we could get is probably less. So
and you look at that too. I tell people it's like wherever you want to be. Say you're going to make all of that money on the house, and then you're going to have the house of your dreams. Then it's worth it. If you're making that much money and it's enabling you to step up. With us, we did that even in the low interest rate area. I can walk to the golf course in 3 minutes from where I'm at. It's a beautiful situation, and we have our house. However, like now is kind of a level of contentment where I'm at with like not desiring to sell and be in the, in the country so quickly, how in a couple of years probably. But there's been sellers that I've said don't sell. And I don't think Dino would probably like that if I said that live, but you can put it in there. It's fine. Yeah. But like literally I've told these kids, like, you're sitting good. This house is so nice. And,
Right.
and the price. And I will tell everybody that I meet with is whatever you do, don't make your life change because of the house that you're in. Right. I mean, if it changes for the better and you have more money, amazing. But if you're going to become mortgage poor and not be able to have the same lifestyle that you have right now, stay where you're at, see what happens, or sell and make that money and put all of that money back into the next house you buy and have that same house payment and enjoy your life. I know when John sold his house over off of Easttown and bought the house that he's in now, that happened well for him. But if it wouldn't have, he wouldn't have heard sell from me. You know, there's a lot of, I think, I would say, I don't have any names in particular. I wouldn't say them if I did. But there's a lot of halfway realtors that'll just, oh yeah, just put a sign in your yard, you'll be all right.
Right.
Like, no, like that's where it is, people before property. And I would want to sit down and be like, what do you want to do? You know, like in life, where do you want to put your money? How's your life experiences? Can your daughter or son still play travel ball? Can they do this? And then can you honestly afford where you're going? And I don't go into numbers like that with people, but I care, Right. And I think that's the thing that helps me in real estate is really just diving into the care side before. Sometimes I feel greedy putting a house on the market and selling it in, a day and making the same amount of money that I would if I had that on the market for 3 months. But then it's all, if I hire an electrician and he fixes my issue, that should take a halfway agent. Right. 2 days, and he got it done in 3 hours. I don't care how much I paid him. Right.
Changing directions a little bit. You've supported a lot of different organizations, getting involved in different fundraisers and things like that. And there's a lot of groups, whether it's small school groups, maybe parent-teacher council, something like that. Everyone's trying to raise funds for something, but they're lacking, participation and volunteers. What advice would you give to groups that are trying to raise money for whatever their particular cause might be, and to get people enthusiastic about it?
Make sure the purpose aligns with your mission. I think that's very crucial. And not supporting everything. There's so many people asking for money. Make sure that you're bought into that agency or whoever you're supporting the funds for, and then give as much effort to raising those funds and also giving to that charity yourself. Biggest things that I've helped raise money for, I haven't probably poured a lot of financials in. I've poured a lot of effort and marketing in because it's where my gift mix is. Mm-hmm. But when you sit back and you see, a medical clinic being built in Africa because of the efforts you had in a concert, it's just as rewarding. It's probably more rewarding than me being able to give $500 to a charity when I can give my efforts and see that guy write a $60,000 check to build a medical clinic, or, and I've been blessed to be trusted with, I would say larger charities, Bubba Watson Foundation, Scotty Scheffler's Behind Every Door, those kind of things. But here locally, I love where we're going, but I also think there's too much mud in the water of trying to raise money, that we have to be intentional with how we do it, and also doing events with excellence. Don't just do a chicken dinner. It's great, it works sometimes, but I went to Temple Christian's silent auction that was hosted over on Brees Road by the car wash there, and that new wedding venue or whatever's there.
Yep.
Whitetail Acres, and it was amazing, and they did that with excellence. They had another realtor who's a great dude, Devin Dye, that owns Dye Real Estate. His auctioneers came in and killed it, and the more professionalism that you can bring into the fundraising and give those experiences, there's so many businesses that'll support, they have a vacation home somewhere, they'll give you a week there,
Sure.
But intentionality when it comes to fundraising is huge.
Yeah, you're talking about these bigger events, and obviously, like the STEP committee, they're doing big events, but you're different levels to the size of events that you're doing. I would imagine going up to that, there's a certain amount of resources that you're pouring into this, and you don't necessarily know how many people are going to come, if people are going to be interested. How do you kind of gauge the interest level, and how do you identify that, yeah, this is the right direction to go, this is the right level of resource to pour into this, and kind of have the confidence that you're going to get the results you want?
I think everything that I step my involvement in from a time commitment is I'm full in. And so I can't step in halfway and I think in that too is learning how to say no to the things that you're not really sold out for. The last event we did, I think we gave, and thank God for real estate, I was able to, give that place about 5-6 months of my time, not paid, and really pour in because I wanted to. But you're as bought in as 100%, and also in that, would I go to this? Would I? If I wasn't a part of this, would I want to sit in that room while this event was going on? So I think that's a crucial thing to think about. Is like, yeah, my kid may want to be involved or so on like this, but am I going to enjoy how they're putting this on?
Is it something you'd be proud of?
Yeah.
Your family too.
Pride, in humility, pride is everything when it comes to something. When I put my hand on something. I always tell my students and tell my kids, your last name's everything. And so putting your name behind something in full effort, you want to be able to go to bed at night and know it worked.
Got any good flops? Any big mistakes that were made in your time of organizing things, and what lessons did you learn from that?
Yeah. In fact, the big one that comes to my head is like, we were touring the Rock and Worship Roadshow, and we went into enemy territory, and enemy territory happened to be the Hawks Arena. And we were competing with Winter Jam, which is crazy now. Like, fast forward 15 years, is Winter Jam, Premier Productions, Rush Concerts looked at each other as competition, and Winter Jam went out where we were. I think we were out west, and we decided that we were going to go east in the fall, and they were going to go out west in the spring. And we went down to Atlanta, and I had no financial backing of this. I was just, a promoter, and we had 2,000 people in a 15,000 seat arena watching a show, and I got to see my owner of the company like laying on the ground in the coach's locker room, like, what just happened? Ugh. But there was a lot of stones unturned. We relied on radio, and I never think this happened, but in the back of my head, I'm wondering if it did. It's like they were such strong supporters of Winter Jam. I wonder if they kibossed our concert or anything like that. But going back to those days is like, I don't think I uncovered every stone that needed to be unturned, and I think biggest flop too, I got kicked out of college back in the day. That was fun. But then I went back, got my MBA there. And,
you got a good story with that. You do a little Animal House time, or what's going on, Tug?
No, I stole a security guard's car. That didn't happen. I mean, I didn't get in trouble for that, but I was just lazy, and I bought the teacher's edition book on accident on Amazon, and then realized it was the teacher's edition book, and it was amazing on homework and not on tests.
Okay.
But I think in that is like taking as much responsibility as you have day in and day out. I beat myself. I'm an over analyzer that doesn't like details. You can ask my wife that. But why I overanalyze now is I want anything. I never look at anything as failure. I teach the kids that in class is it's all tuition. That wasn't a flop. That was a kind of a learning curve to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And if I'm going to be involved, I want it to be, if it fails financially, that's all right, sometimes. But it fails with my motives, then it's completely terrible.
Now, a couple of times you've name dropped in here a little bit along the way, and not to go into a long list. You could probably go into a long list of big names, but Bubba Watson, for those who don't know, pretty successful PGA golfer.
Golfer now.
Throwing on a green jacket. He's a live golfer?
He is.
But he still plays in PGA events. They're allowed to,
the
right?
Majors.
All right, didn't that all get merged together? They're playing nice now?
I don't know if they're playing nice yet. They've talked about it for 2 years, and in all honesty, I love both. Not because Bubba's on Live or, anything like that. I love the creativity side of Live and the PGA, and I like the rules and stuff of the PGA, like the 4 rounds and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it was good. I started the concert stuff and creating the things for athletes the year before Bubba won the Masters. And when that relationship happened, I was just so thankful to be used.
Yeah. Well, so Bubba Watson, you were in with the Duck Dynasty guys. You did a podcast with Jim Jordan, professional athletes. You've mentioned a couple of artists. What is that like managing, having the responsibility of dealing with a high-profile name, and what approach do you take when you're having that first interaction with somebody who has a pretty high status, and you need to be respectful of their time, but you're also trying to develop that relationship with them?
Yeah, I don't think I look at it. I used to. I was very excited to be in those rooms.
Get a little giddy.
Yeah, and it all. When I used to promote. I mean, and I'm not trying to name drop here, but like I was involved with the Mercy Me, and my portion of the show was making sure these athletes that came to the event had a great time, and so. And when Albert Pujols, Andrew McCutcheon, and all these guys showed up, my job was to get them tickets and make sure their suite was ready and all this stuff. And I'd simply ask for a baseball hat, and I never got it. Like from the musician that I was working with. And when Bubba stepped in, he lost in Tucson, I think, or Sedona the day before, and we invited him over to play basketball. I looked at the manager and I said, "Hey, you need to tell him." That if I get him this suite, he's got to spend 5 minutes with me. And I jokingly said, but that ain't going to happen because he ain't even got me a Pirates hat, or whatever from Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah.
And fast forward a few years, Andrew McCutcheon invited me down to watch the Reds game when they played the Pirates. And he goes, but you wear a Pirates hat. The first inning I did, and then I switched to a Reds hat. But long story short is one thing I've always honored with these guys is I don't treat them like who they are. I won't. I'm blessed to be in that room with them. I'm so thankful. And on my phone, you could go through and see that I have Scotty's number, but I've never texted him. You could see that, I haven't reached out. And my job is more their experience. And so how can I give them this opportunity that they want to be a part of in a way, but yet treat them like a brother? And I look at them like that. I don't talk to them like they're a brother. I don't really even talk to them too much, but it's just been an honor.
Sure. I can imagine. Is it stressful? When you're putting on a big event like that, what kind of things are happening behind the scenes for you? When do you finally breathe and say, okay, we're through this?
Day one, I breathe.
Okay.
It's so, and I don't say that sarcastically. It's like, I try and give John Keski selling a house as good of an experience as I would give Scotty Scheffler or
Appreciate
somebody.
that.
And I'm being honest when I say that. And that relationship has to mean as much. And I think that's why God's continued to bless me in that world, is because, like, even though to the naked eye, that's like, oh, that's pretty freaking amazing. You have Scheffler's back in your house. You have that. Great. But they better get the same service because there's so many people that these people look at and all they're after is their wallet. I mean, flat out. That's it. Like, how can I get this from somebody? Mm-hmm. And my mentality is how can I serve them and elevate their concert or their brand or this? And if so happens that we become friends through this process, we're friends.
Yep.
And it's been amazing. I get to go see my guys in Skillet this week. I'm excited. I haven't seen them in like 10 years, but like it'll be fun.
Okay.
But yeah,
they got a concert going on.
Yep, taking Mom up there. It'll be fun.
Now you've mentioned you're very open about your faith, and it seems like you put that at the center of everything you do. How has that shaped your life and your career?
It's everything. I mean, it's flat out to me. It creates purpose, and I've been through, as much as we talk about the good that I've been through, there's been a lot of trash that I've had to walk through. And without that, I have no idea where I'd be. In fact, it really, if you want to get me fired up, it's about people that say they are and then they walk away from God. Then you never had him kind of mentality. Going through, I'm so blessed to be where I am, but going through, I battled, you wouldn't know this if you talked to me, but I battled depression and anxiety for 2 years where I had to leave college and thought I was dying and this kind of stuff. And without God and the involvement from my parents, my grandparents, my grandma always took us to church. My mom took us to church. My mom's been all about Jesus since I was born. And that, however, we all know this as people is like whatever your parents press on you, you think you become that for a while. But until I literally bet my own farm on my faith, that's when it became very important. And so my wife and I, we're in church every Sunday. My wife is so impressive to me that like every night when I go to bed, she's in there reading her Bible, and it's a personal dedication that allows us to impact our own home and then also influence others. I'm also a wreck bro. I think that's what's pretty awesome about faith is that those disciples
wreck
were
bro?
a wreck bro. But
like in the gym or what's
no,
what am I missing here?
I am the most outgoing about my faith, and I'm probably one of the biggest wrecks that you'll ever meet. If that makes sense. And I think that's why faith becomes so important is because you know who you are versus who you were created by. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, I think sometimes people look at Jesus and the capacity of he's up there going to beat the crap out of you if you do something wrong. And he's like, no, you're good enough, bro. I did that for you.
Well, I commend you for that. I get involved in a lot of different ways in my church, but the step that
I've watched you ref upwards.
Yeah, well, I try. I'm still learning the game of basketball, one game at a time. But
how upset is your dad that you will ref basketball but not?
I did some baseball.
Right, but
I was a pretty good baseball umpire, but
those games are shorter.
Yeah, I did get paid to do but I got Josh over at Shawnee Alliance. He'll cry if I walk away from that, so I can't stop. But the one thing they talk about is like to take that next step is to be more outward with your faith, and I haven't gotten there yet. It's tough for me.
You're there right now. You're talking about it behind the mic, bro.
I know. How about that? Yeah. Taking big steps. Hear that, Chris? Wonder if he's even listening here.
Chris was here earlier.
Could have had him on the podcast.
Could have had him on too, right?
We'll get him
I had him on
time.
my old one. He's awesome.
Now, Tug, you got a lot of webs in Northwest Ohio in this community, a lot of connections. Graduated from Allen East?
I graduated from Temple.
Temple, yep. Okay. But like, how many different school systems do you have a loose connection to through like your kids or?
Allen East, Perry, and I'm not saying that like I try and get involved as much as I can. With the kids that I am strongly about. I mean, back when you were in T-ball and stuff, but like,
sure.
Now it's pretty impressive. We go to Cape Road Alliance, and Jonan Snyder's the starting quarterback for Elida. We went out to lunch with him for after church today, and the one thing that I see is that kids want presence and desire that support from a real person that's not just giving them kudos, but Temple, Shawnee, Allen East, Lima Senior, I would say a lot of them, not from a standpoint. I just love that age.
Yep. You're just invested in the youth in this community.
Yep.
So with that being said, what are some things you want to see more happening in Lima, Northwest Ohio, this area, just continued growth in this area? What are some things you'd like to see?
Well, for one, creatively, we're in this new thing of NIL agencies and high school sports and stuff like that.
We're waiting any day now. Any day now, high school kids are allowed to get paid.
They're allowed right now.
Well, right, yeah.
Yeah,
they're going to get a ruling.
Yeah,
they're going to get a ruling any day.
And from what my creative mind says is like, if that is legit going to happen, I want to get involved. And I want to connect these kids with local businesses that truly support who they are, because we are 100% blessed with the amount of people that support high school sports in this area. But we need to also get behind them with a purpose. And I've honestly been behind NIL since day one, because we use these kids as billboards and we use these kids as ticket sellers and so on. And they're putting in 100 hours a week in the gym.
But does it not, it doesn't concern you that they're 5 years from now, there's going to be a superstar kid at Lima Senior that at the age of 15, 14, we're giving him cars, money, deals. Not that 18's better.
But I think I would like to see that on a local standpoint of kids that are invested in this community, that have been built from the ground up, and then supporting them from a local business standpoint in that way. I am a strong disagreeer from recruiting your kids to a different school to make your team better.
Right.
I would rather work with what I've had since day one. But on the other side of it is, like, athletics has become such a point of emphasis for the financial infrastructure in college and also potentially now in high school. I'm also not mad if one school wins an athlete because of the influence that they have in the community. But I would say get behind that kid more for the heart of who he is with the good of what he is on the field. I look at the Berkey kids from Shawnee, great kids. Yes, sir, no, sir, this stuff, Look at Joan and Elida, Parker Krim, even, that's going to Illinois, just a great down-to-earth kid. Is like, invest your money with purpose, if you're allowed to, behind the kids who are making a difference to the younger kids that are coming up.
It'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds over the years.
I get so, look at football. It comes down to which school can pay the most money. Almost every time. Not every time. Not every kid takes the big, some kids stay at the local college or the college their parents went to. But it's going to be tough if Shawnee has a bunch of boosters and all of a sudden, hey, well, we can get you, we got guys that sell cars. They can get you a great deal on a car. Guys that
sell suits that can hook you up with sports coats. I would say the big thing in that too is, like, whatever community you're invested in, right? Do you not want it to be the best?
Yeah, I do, but I also don't. I also know if somebody offered my kid a boatload of Fortnite gift cards, I don't know that he'd make the right decision at the ripe young age of 12.
That's why
to not make a dumb decision.
That's why he's a minor,
right? But so is a high school kid.
I just lost something.
We'll get it back. Technical difficulties going on. All right, that's why
production skills.
It helps to have a former pod and future podcaster on here.
I think in that too is what's awesome about this opportunity that I think high school sports has in here is that the parents can still make those decisions for those kids and potentially who they align with. You're putting your last name behind it.
You're a much bigger optimist than I am.
You're negative on this?
I'm a big pessimist on parents making the right decision. I'm a contrarian, I would say.
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
I just worry that if we incentivize, hey, all right, all of a sudden every kid can go to this school or that school because they can offer them more money. They're
doing it already.
Yeah, but not
people.
They were doing it in college always too, but not to the degree they're doing it now.
Right. I think that's a big thing too. Is as we are, potentially allowing these kids to get paid for what they do. It's our job as parents to truly guide them in the way. If I could say anything to the parents that are looking at NIL deals for their kids in high school, is like, don't treat, this is kind of weird, but don't treat them as meat. Treat them as substance. And how, even with our marketing company, we're not going to align with everybody. Is who, if my kid was going to get sponsored by Tom All, I'd be all about it because I see him washing cars out there as the owner. I don't want my kids to have those participation trophies or that money thrown at them just because they're good. If they're good, I would rather see them take so much less financially and get another company, like get them behind the company as much as the company's behind the athlete. So,
right. And
but it's different.
assuming parents make the right decisions, this will be great for the kids and the families, and it'll be a huge help, I would assume.
Yep.
It's
different
I don't
because
have your level of faith that there won't be parents that.
I have more faith, I think, in the ability that they're going to have to get this than I have in the parents that are going to make the right decisions.
I think a huge, their coaches all of a sudden become all that much more important, because a lot of parents, if I don't know anything about, if my kid happens to hopefully one day be good enough at baseball that he's getting people that look at him, I don't know how that all works. And so
do you have an idea right now? This is a different question, but if there was a local company in the area that would come to your kid and want to sponsor you, do you have this is who I would want them to?
I do. We would certainly have a standard. I wouldn't, there are places I would be more willing to accept money from or gifts from than other places. But also, you always want to do what's best for your kid. And how do I know not taking a $5,000 donation from such and such isn't a great help for my kid? That's a semester's worth of textbooks or something like that now.
Yep.
So
it's like I tell my kids in the college class, I'm like, you need to interview the interviewer more than the interviewee.
Well, and that's where that's why I say I think coaches all of a sudden would become they're obviously very important right now, but to be able to, if my kid could go to my coach or I could go to my kid's coach and say, hey, what do you think, as somewhat of he'd be more of an expert than me, I would hope. And that's a whole nother responsibility that we're putting on high school coaches who generally don't make that much money as it is.
Yeah, this is the first time we'll talk about it live, and Frank might beat me for this, but we're really looking into bridging that gap, because if it's present, we want to be involved with the purpose behind it, and so we're actually discussing, do we get into that?
So this is Unicent?
Yeah, Unicent Marketing, literally looking at, do we get involved locally right here in Lima first with helping bridge that gap if it's going to be here. And so it's just like in real estate, is having a trusted agent in that is so important, in the inspections, the appraisals in real estate, and then walking alongside these parents as they continue to grow their kids' athletic career. And for us, and I tell people selling my house, whether you accept $5,000 more or less isn't going to change my narrative much, the percent I get, just like it won it in the NIL deal. But how can we walk beside these families if this is going to legitly happen, which I don't know if it will for sure, but how can we bridge that gap to where we are the locally trusted people when it comes to, putting Tom on that high school kid, or putting, even Unicent, who are kids, and I'll tell parents one thing is your kid needs to have character, not just be good at sports. Right. And so if we're investing money into these athletes in this area, I don't want to put my money behind a kid who is all state at athletics, but wouldn't make the honorable mention as a human.
Right. Well, with social media and as present as kids are online, I think that the character plays such a huge role in if businesses want to get aligned with, because, Jeremiah Smith, fantastic receiver. Everybody's throwing money at him because he gets all the play.
Because he can make a catch with his hand behind his back.
However, if every night after the game he went on X or Instagram and trashed his teammates and did dumb things like a lot of college kids do, I don't know that businesses would be throwing that money at him, which is where your character comes into play.
I love seeing these guys getting these NIL deals and then giving portions of that to help pay for the kids' college.
To the backup left tackle who is not getting one. Yeah.
So, going to ask some random questions here. What's your favorite local place to just unwind? Go get a bite to eat, or maybe something outside of that?
My favorite local place to unwind remotely, I thought of Shawnee Country Club just to golf. Hidden Creek Golf Club just to golf too. I venture to both places as well. I tend to say coffee shops in the morning.
Okay.
Frequent sometimes. I know it's not a local place, but my pastor and I meet at Starbucks like twice a week, and Coffee and More, which is now One Ship Coffee. I love checking in at Dash and Joey's. Chad Ensley there. He's a legend in the area.
He just got done running on another 100-miler.
Yeah, he's an idiot when
How
it
to
comes
get
to that. It's amazing.
It's crazy stuff that he does.
Beer Barrel. I'm very in the knowledge of where John Heafy started Beer Barrel from was selling sandwiches to guys working construction in Lost Creek when he was a high schooler. But really, my favorite place locally to unwind is probably my couch. or wherever.
Yep.
I don't have a problem unwinding. I do love the locality of Lima, and I think everywhere we go here can be local if we put the effort behind it. But you put a golf club in my hand, I don't care if it's wherever. That's my favorite place to unwind.
Now you mentioned the country club. I wanted to ask something earlier and I forgot. They put on looks like a nice firework display over there on 4th of July, and you posted a video it was drone footage of that.
Yeah.
Is that your drone?
It was my brother's, actually. I paid the man $50 to come fly a drone through the fireworks.
So that was what I was going to ask. Is there any worry when you got a drone up there and there's explosives going off that this is going to hit the drone?
I don't know. You can
Was that what the $50 for? Was it an insurance policy?
No, it's just because.
And also, why did your brother take $50 to do it?
He didn't have to.
Right.
However, I don't have the capabilities to do what he did with that drone, and that I think that's another thing is really honoring the time behind people who want to do things for you. In all honesty, I probably could have paid him, should have paid him more. Whatever, but also knowing the budget that was involved with the show is allowing him to be there and fly the drone. It was fun for him. But yeah, there was some of those fireworks flew right by the drone, and but in that, Unicent got hired to do all the social media management for Shawnee Country Club, and have been really working with them on their communication and growing it. I don't say this lightly, growing it from a Baptist church bulletin to where we're at now. That's kind of the way I look at marketing is like, how can I take, this company to a different level while not being seen? So you'll never see our logo on things, but you'll see excellence. And when I knew they were having the fireworks, I want to create this video that's so much fun. And it was cool. Had a little kid sitting by him while he's flying his drone. And, I got to see fireworks like I never have before. But, we also hired another guy to do drone tour of the course that they didn't have before. But using technology, we do use a lot of AI on writing our posts, never on graphics, because I see a local company we used to work for, and it's like shrimp is now shrimps. That does not work, But things like that, I'm all about supporting people that are close to me and engaging them in things that I know they're way better than me at.
Well, and it's good to see all the positive momentum of the country club, because I had heard. At one point, I thought it was going to close down, but it seems like they've gotten over that hump, and the basement flooded, caused some serious damage or something.
Yeah,
so we don't need to know it all.
There was a sprinkler in the ceiling that was fixed a few years back that malfunctioned when we got really cold, and there was a rough season. In fact, I took a leave for 8 months, I think. But in all honesty, I went back because it's my second home, and the relationships there. If I could tell anybody in this area, is if you have the availability financially to join, it's so good if you're an active golfer. One of my favorite guys to golf with is an 87-year-old man. I think he's 87. Bob comments if I just butchered your age, I'm sorry. But the first week I joined there, I wanted to work out. I go into the club at 6:30 in the morning, and I see this old guy. Sorry, Bob, you are old.
He's actually only 58. He just golfs a lot, and the sun's beating him.
We
down.
have 100 of his quotes in our notebook that we're going to bring out. Me and Coach Adams, but I'm on the treadmill working out, and I'm watching SportsCenter, and this guy walks in, doesn't even say hi to me, whatever, grabs the remote and changes it to MSNBC and watching stocks, and I'm like, what's going on, you know? And then I get paired up with him on Tuesday, and you know I didn't play well, and he said, "Hey, three good holes there, Tug, but after that you're a pretty crappy golfer." And right away he become my favorite, man. And so now it's like, you know, I went back because of the people, and you know it has this mantra just like UNOH does in this community, and you know the loud cars and this and a whole bunch of crotchety people. No, there's some amazing friendships and family that I've built at the club, and same way with the students at UNOH.
Now, you mentioned working out at the club. I saw you got a pretty nice little weight system at your house, but I mean, you, from the person I remember way back when, you've lost a lot of weight, and you've kept that off.
Yeah, I've kept. I'm not happy at all. In fact, I'm down 11 in 10 days. But you know, there's a serious thing that happens when you wake up one day and you're like, dang, this is when John's talking about I was fat as crap, bro. But like, I was like 340, 320, 325, 330, something like that. And I lost like 75, 80 pounds. And I have maintained within the 15 to 20 pound ratio of that the whole time. But just in the last couple of weeks, it's really hit me that, you know, we have his Patrick, his last name. He posted this thing on. We have so many hours in the week. 8 a day are for sleeping. 8 a day is for this, whatever. You can't give 5 hours to your physical fitness, you know. And so that's where, you know, I want to be in my control. I want to be around as long as I can. And in faith ways, I don't know when that is. But now it's became a, you know, I wanted to work out at 5:30 in the morning. Now it's like, okay, if I didn't get it in then, I better get it in at 2 o'clock, and it'd just be a better me, I guess.
So always should be a continuous goal. What's one thing about Tug Taviano that would surprise somebody?
Nothing or everything.
Is your real name Tug?
Yeah, you know what it means?
It's not Tuggerino. Is it short for like something else?
It's short if you want to pronounce it for an hour, I guess, or like delay it, but it means to pull.
I'm aware what that means.
Yeah, that's what it means.
But that's it. If I look at your birth certificate, it just says Tug.
Yep, Tug Nolan Taviano. You guys are baseball fans. I was named after Tug McGraw and Nolan Ryan. So.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah. Well, I always wanted to
No,
know.
There's worse people to be named after.
Yeah, and you know, you say that, it was like I struggle sometimes. It's like everybody remembers my name, but I am terrible with names. It drives me crazy. Like I'm on week 8 of college students, and like I know maybe 18 of the 27 students I have's name with their face.
But I have kids on some of my sports teams that
Yeah.
we get to the end of the year and I'm like, hey, bro, come over here.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
like,
I
hey,
still-
buckaroo,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
bud.
Hey, number 9. How's my favorite number 9 doing today?
That's awesome.
Now, Tug, we brought you on here. Didn't really have a strict agenda that we were following. I want to make sure that I haven't skipped over. You know, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about anything that you wanted to bring up on here.
No, when I saw your guys' first episode, I think I texted John, like, it's a great show, you know. It's an honor to be on and to see somebody, you know, I didn't know Matt well, but to see the camaraderie that you guys have and calling it the local exchange is huge. In that, because the word exchange means a lot to me. It's like not what I can get out of somebody. It's what can I put into somebody and what can I get out of them as well. And in every relationship, it's an exchange. So kudos to you guys. No, I don't think there's anything. You know, I don't want to sit on here and say this is for selfish gain because I don't really care. I'm being honest with that. Like, there's some people I meet in real estate that I'm like, I may not be the right real estate agent for you. Sorry, Dino. But I purposely say that. We don't align with everybody, but everybody we have the opportunity to talk to, we have the availability to impact. And so, no, whatever I'm in, and whatever you see is what you get. So kudos to you guys. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, we appreciate it, and I'm sure
I should say I love Heather Taviano as much as possible too.
that is
She's probably in bed right
very
now.
good thing to plug on here. If she has made it all the way into the depths of this podcast.
Let's share this. This is great.
Okay.
So this is. I'm sorry. I'm dragging this on. I guess
It's okay.
There's no time
so.
limit.
Like, I scared my wife over 50 times on video that I captured, and this was on Facebook before my Facebook got hacked by some guy in Brazil, and I had to make the decision to restart my whole Facebook, which was very hard when 95% of your marketing is on social media. But the other day, like I woke up, and as most men do, you gotta go to the bathroom when you wake up, right? And maybe my wife did, maybe she didn't. I'm not gonna say that on public air.
Sure.
But I said, you know what? I'll go walk across the house and go to the other one. You can, and I come back into the room, and this chick is wanting to prank me.
But you knew.
No, I had no idea.
Oh, okay.
But she's sitting there, and she has a mouth full of water, like a little seal, and she proceeds to go. But what she failed to realize is she had a full bottled water without the lid on. And Taviano squeezed that bottle of water right on her. And so, no, I jokingly say I love her, but like it's been so amazing to see. And I think this is a good closing point. Is who you're. I think we're all married here, right?
Yeah.
Is who you're married.
Well, I don't know.
Currently.
Who
As of 7 o'clock, I'm confident it was. Right?
who you're married to makes your life so much more worth it. And so because of her, I am able to sell more houses. Because of her, I am able to golf more. Because of her, I am able to put my things, my effort into multiple things because I feel that support that every man, every woman needs to feel when they get home. And so if I can say one thing to guys that are listening or ladies that are listening, make sure you support your spouse in the areas that they desire, because they'll in turn come back and support you like crazy. Don't have this, I have friends that wives have like 5-foot choker chains on them when they need like 10, like let them breathe a little bit and watch what you get. And so, John, you need to be able to go to more. Steph, listen, you need to go to more baseball games. No, I'm just joking. But the more outlets, the more involved they allowed you to be, and who makes you a better person is the way more you're going to perform in a way as a husband, at home, at work, and so on. So, yeah.
Tug, that's beautiful.
Ladies, let your spouse go to more sporting events.
Yes.
That's what I took away from today.
Yeah.
Well, I applaud you for coming on to this. I think when it comes to being a good father, good husband, great worker, you set an example in so many different ways on ways that you can live your life, and the confidence that you have in yourself. Stepping into I don't think you have a lot of different people. I mean, you have great relationships that you've made, but you're kind of doing things for the first time in a lot of cases, and just being confident about your approach. And I'm sure along the way you get a lot of haters, and you've had to say, oh, I'm not trying to self-promote. But at the end of the day, you're getting out there and you're getting it done. And to me, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit and get to learn about how your brain works, because you set an example for what a lot of people looking for purpose in life, they could take some notes from you, because you certainly have found it.
Let the hate fuel you.
Let the hate fuel you.
I'm dead serious on that. Is like, I'm not worried about proving people wrong. I'm worried about proving God right.
Beautiful. Well, with that, I say we just wrap this thing up.
Seems appropriate.
Tug Taviano, thank you for stopping on.
Thanks.